Middingen, Switzerland.
And where are you going?
We are going back down to Bruins to a tourist or a historical society somewhere to see if I can find out more about the village of Kienholz. I just want to walk around and see if I see anybody that looks like they could be a relative. I've got a picture of my grandpa.
Well, I've got a 500 years later.
I've got a picture of my grandpa. That strong Hendrickson, crooked
Strong.
nose. That strong nose. Hendrickson,
Strong.
nose. There's a crooked nose thing we've got going.
Yodel.
Yodeling.
Where are you?
Switzerland.
So in what? You
Switzerland.
could have just said no.
And we are headed to a man's home who knows a lot about the early history of this community.
What's his name?
His name is Heinz.
Heinz what?
Scheile?
Kylie. Am I right?
Anyway, we are headed to his home. He said he told the tourist lady to send us over. He's got a lot of maps and things that he can show us about early Kienholz. So.
Where are you going? Are you going? All right. Good. She's not going.
They named him Kienholz. That's what I understand. Is the boy that survived? He became, or they named him Kienholz after the
Kienholz,
village,
yeah.
and my descendants are from that boy.
All right, okay. I've heard a lot of those stories from
Okay.
a lot of different Americans.
Ah, okay,
Yeah, they're always from a Fluck or from a Kienholz.
okay.
Excuse me, rice is a bugger to eat. Let's go and have a look out at the Kienholz. That is Ballenberg, that round hump there.
All right, around one.
And if you look at it, that looks like a delta,
Okay.
slightly rounded. Actually, that's just a mass of rubble that comes down from the mountain,
Oh wow.
goes to the lake, back about 100 meters, 300 feet, and covered the whole village.
Wow.
That was 1499
All right.
that happened. 400 years later, 1896, came the next batch.
Arg pian questa. Oddio. Ma è slå in. Det slår in var det lite skjuta. Oddio guarda te questa.
But that only covered the village about 6 to 8 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of houses, if they didn't get pushed away, they just added an extra story to it or 2 stories, tried to dig out the cellars.
Oh.
The village wasn't extinguished, but things changed.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last big rock slide.
That was the
Now the
last one.
story is that somebody from Meiringen, that's the next village, next large village up the valley.
Okay.
Somebody wanted to come to Brienz. This is Brienz, that's was Kienholz.
Yeah.
In those days we heard some little boy crying or hollering for help. Actually the story is more complicated. His dog kept scratching at a spot
Oh.
during 2 or 3 different visits to Brienz. The dog always stopped scratching at that spot.
Oh wow.
And they found an old man, grandfather, who died shortly after he was discovered, and a small boy that were trapped in a cylinder, but they had some fruit or vegetables or whatever on which they could survive, obviously for a month or 2. They're supposed to have gotten their name Kienholz from that slide.
And that
That is one story. On the other hand, the boy was big enough, the grandfather was still alive enough that if they had dug him out, we would have known who the heck he is, or he would have told us.
Right.
We wouldn't have had to invent a name.
Right, right. So was that story from the 1499 or the second rock slide?
I would say that's probably the second slide.
Okay. All right.
Which was what year?
The Kienholz. 1896.
1896. Okay. So yeah, my mother's father's father
Closely.
is from here. Okay.
Okay.
That's what the story is. So. Interesting.
Actually, part of my family. Part of my family was married to a Kienholz.
Oh really?
So you're related.
We may be related.
Oh yeah. Let's give us a hug and a kiss.
Well, it's a beautiful place. My first trip to Switzerland.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful. So I told my family, where did we say we think we're from? And they told me, and I said, I'll try to get there.
Alright, when you get back to the States, you can start singing. You say, I've been everywhere, man. Excuse me.
Wow.
So that's the whole slide that came.
Yeah, that is brilliant.
And so you study this stuff, or you just take an interest in the history?
I do guided tours
Oh, you do. Okay.
here in our town.
Okay.
Have a lot of American tourists, spent a few years on your continent.
Yes.
So I got to know your country, got to know Canada. That came out of this gully.
Okay.
That
And
went
just
down,
pushed
covered
over.
Schwanden, Hofstetten, and Kienholz. Once we're down on our promenade, we'll get a better picture. But the rain finds its own way. There are gullies everywhere that always bring water down. Eventually there'll be a lot of dirt coming down. You see that rock slide over there? That would
Right.
be the rock slide right here.
Okay.
Okay? That's going down. A landslide killing everyone but your ancestor. That's not true. A lot of people had fled, had been evacuated. We knew that mountain was coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But a lot more could have been saved, and especially they could have moved their household goods
To a
away,
safer, yeah.
and they didn't do that. 1499,
Right,
yeah, that
that-
was the big slide.
So,
People that dealt with that type of thing, they prophesied that
That it was coming?
slide is gonna come again.
so how fast does the landslide move typically? Just depends on
Hundreds.
The first,
rainfall.
the
or-
first one came down in 1499, rough, and that was it. The second
Okay.
one took hours, if not days,
Oh, okay.
to move all the way down. It is said some farmers went and got their potatoes out of the ground
Oh, wow.
in
Yes.
front of it. Some of them were cutting grass so they have some fodder for their goats,
Right.
etc.
Right.
Everybody figured it would stop eventually, but it didn't stop. It came all the way down to the lake.
Is
Incident with the house that I was born in, that big house right down by the water. Yeah.
This community?
That village here is Kienholz. Okay? And that is the gully where all that
Comes down. Wow.
dirt came from.
Was Drins here before Kienholz?
Oh God, who knows? Kienholz, everything was lost 1496. no records left, or at least not local records.
Right.
The town of Brienz survived.
Right.
Now
So
you
it
see
was
the
this.
place.
This was this light up here.
The gully.
No, the gully is over
Is that
there.
that one?
See
Okay,
that
it's the
gully?
second
See
one.
that
It
rock
comes
face,
all down in.
a smaller rock slide in front of it, but the big thing, that whole thing washed down one night and killed it all. I say one night, it could have been day, I don't know.
Right.
I wasn't here then.
So we have no way of knowing what the population was of that earlier village.
I don't.
Yeah.
The second slide came. Okay, in 2005. We had a lot of rain over a 3-week period, very heavy rain, and then the last night it really poured. Cats and dogs into that rock face up there just below the clouds.
Yep.
Half the water washing down into Brienz, the town of Brienz, the other half washing down in front of that rock face over there. You'll probably see that if you come down here. Now you see that
Oh.
creek down there to the left. That whole area was covered in muck. And that happened within one night. And I slept right through it.
Really?
There were sirens going everywhere. In the morning, I wanted to go have my cup of coffee. And the neighbor said, you better leave the car at home. You're not going anywhere. Why? We're being evacuated. Grab what you need. So I went and took a carton of cigarettes and left some money and the computer, of course. And left, and down by the church, I saw people going through their suitcases. Do we have enough underwear? Do we have enough stuff? Oh shit! I didn't bring any of that stuff. I'm being evacuated,
No idea.
perhaps for several days. No
Right.
socks, no underwear, no tablets. Coming out of the church. That's the end of it. You see the little windows? That would be
That bathroom.
would have been the biffy and your dung wagon or honey wagon right down below to catch whatever comes down. Look at the little biffy on the porch here with the dung wagon or honey wagon underneath. And that would be your cow shed or your goat shed or whatever. You get a lot more of the same stuff coming out of there. Look at a little a hay log.
Oh, yeah.
See the cracks between the logs? Grass has stopped eating the hay.
has to be given a chance to breathe